So Pratisha, yesterday we did how to create a web service. Now you know how to get the JSON data in your PHP file from the SQL Server database, right? The next step is we have the front end ready. We have our login form, the profile page ready, the HTML view, and on the other side we have the PHP script to get the data from the SQL. Right? Now next step, what we want to do is we want to integrate the PHP side, the data side to our front end. We want to get this data to our front end. So for this, we are going to integrate our web services to our HTML JavaScript front end that we have designed already, right? So we'll be covering the topic of web service integration with the front end using the AJAX call. Okay. So first of all, basically, what is AJAX? AJAX is nothing but asynchronous JavaScript and XML. That's the full form of AJAX. What it does is you can request data from the server, you can get the response back from the server, and you can also send data to the server using the AJAX calls. Basically, AJAX allows web pages to be updated asynchronously by exchanging small amounts of data with the server behind the scenes. That means you don't have to refresh the page every time you request a data and get the response. You just request the data and you'll get the response back in the somewhere in behind the scenes. The processing will be done. You don't have to refresh your page every time for requesting the data. So how it works is your browser, when you enter a URL there, it creates an XML HTTP request object. Using AJAX, it creates an XML HTTP request object. That HTTP request is sent to the server. The server receives the request and processes the HTTP request, whatever the browser has sent, either GET request or POST request with the URL and the parameters, and then creates a response based on the request sent by the server, and then sends the data back to the browser. And then browser gets the data using the JavaScript, and then you can display or do whatever you want to do with your data. So this is basically what AJAX is. Okay. So we are going to understand this with help of an example. So let's start here. Yesterday we created a web service to get the list of employees from the database, right? So we had the same web service with us. What we want to do is we want to display that list of employees that we get from the database in a HTML table structure. Okay. So here I have a table with headers as first name, last name, and city. I want to display these three values from the database as list of employees here. What I'll do is I have an app.js that I've included here, and I have a button that calls a function called getEmployees on click of it. Let's see how my page looks. This is my page. I have an input type. I can enter the city name for which I want the employees. When I click on get employees, I'll get the list of employees here in the table.
You included the button only for the city name?
Yeah. Right now I have included for the city name, but you can enhance it however you want it. Okay. So what this get employee button click is doing is it's calling a function called get employee, get emp. What this function is doing is here get emp. I am taking the city as input parameter from my input type city. Input type, I have this input ID means city. That means I am taking the input from this input type as city. I have the value of this input type in my city variable. Now what I am doing is I am calling the web service that I have. This is the URL of my complete web service, the employees web service that we created yesterday. Okay. I am passing the data city, this value, to my web service. Okay. So this is the function I have created to make the AJAX call. Generate JSON. This is my function to make the AJAX call that takes in parameter as URL of the web service, the data I want to pass with the web service, and the method that I'm using, either get, post, put, or delete, whatever I want to use, and then it will return the result in my success function. This is the success function. So let's come to the generate JSON function. This is making the AJAX call. This is the basic syntax of an AJAX call. You need to include the jQuery .js file. This is the JavaScript library that you need to include to make the AJAX call in your code. You should have this to make the AJAX call. Okay. So this is the starting of an AJAX call, the basic syntax. Here the type I'm passing is the method, either get, post, put or delete, whatever I want to use. Then the URL of the web service, and the data type I want is JSON, right? And the data that I want to pass, that I'm passing from here. Data I'm passing to my web service, and my success function will be called here. And if it returns an error or anything, the web service, this function will be called. You can display your error messages here in this function. Okay. So after we make the AJAX call, we get the employee's data here, and I'm calling my onSuccess function, this one. Here I get the data, the response from the web service in my data variable here. Okay. So what I'm doing here is, if my web service has returned a success result code, that is 0, then what I want to do is, I'm going through a loop of the whole data, employee data I'm getting, the list of employees, and I'm appending a tr element in my table that will display the first name, last name, and the city from the response I get from the web service. Okay, that's taking the input. And finally, what am I doing is, my employees table key body, and displaying the data in the inner HTML of my table. This is my table, and this is the key body of the table. I'm getting this element by ID there, and I'm appending the tr elements here in the body, the inner HTML of this key body. Okay, so let's see what happens is,
It is nothing doing with the SQL.
yeah, the SQL thing is handled by the web server that we created yesterday. Right? So here, if I click on get employees without passing the city, what it will do is, it will list all the employees regardless of the city. So let's click on this. So I get the list of employees here, and it will get displayed here like first name, last name, and city. And if I want all the employees with the city London, I'll type in London here and click on get employees. That will update the records for me without refreshing the page. We're making the call to the web service by passing the parameter London to it as the name. If I pass it as Seattle or anything, it will update the data accordingly. Again, if I not pass anything, it will return all the employees here.
So if it doesn't pass, if it passes the wrong city, it gives an error message.
It won't return any result. If I pass a wrong city, the result will be empty. You won't get any result because the result is not matching the city name. So this is about AJAX and making the web service call through your JavaScript. This is how you integrate the web service here, and you'll have your complete working application here. Okay. So if you have any questions regarding the web service integration and AJAX file, you can ask them.
So all the data should be in the JavaScript, in the JSON file, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're just accessing your data returned through the web service here. The JSON data is here in this variable, and you're just accessing the data.
Can you show me the JSON data?
Sure. This is the JSON data I'm getting. Result code 0 means success, and in the data variable I'm getting the array of all the employees with first name, last name, and city. Okay. You understood everything? Right? So this is all about education and everything.